I'm fascinated by a couple of things. People that come from the same part of the world that I do and are obsessed with comedy, and also people that have a music connection. I've always been sort of a frustrated music wannabe, and I think that there's a very strong connection between music and comedy. And I know that was part of your childhood because aren't your parents professionals?
Both. Well, yeah, retired music teachers. But my mom was just, the kindergarten through 8th grade music teacher at a small private school. And my dad taught the local college, like music history 1 and 2. But they're eggheads for sure. They both have their PhDs in musicology, as does my sister in choral conducting. And so I was like, they didn't have any money. So I was like, music's not for me.
Right.
And then I started being like, well, maybe you could be a rock star, and that's a different deal.
Right.
But then I felt like, I could noodle on a lot of instruments, and then you meet the one kid who could just shred a guitar, and you're like, well, yeah, I don't got it. I don't got it.
Yes, it becomes clear pretty quickly. My theory, and I've mentioned it here a bunch in the podcast, is that when you're a kid, you have a checklist, and whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, you're kind of checking out like athlete. In my case, it was athlete. No.
Yeah.
Lady killer. No. Just like a lot of no's, and then what's this thing at the bottom?
Was that a profession?
I know. That's what you wanted to get into?
No, just
professionally?
Not professionally.
Like a Jack the Ripper kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's your persona?
Sort of a Ted Bundy kind of thing.
You can still do that.
Too messy.
You roam from state to state.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's that more that what are your assets? I guess is that what I would say.
For sure.
That I guess that's what I'm talking about. What are your assets? And then I finally it's like I remembered. No. I seem to be able to make people chuckle. All right, we're just going to double down on that, triple down on that. Everything's going into that pot.
Also, you hit a certain point where you're like, this is the only way I can figure out how to feed myself. Like math is off the table, sports, modeling, forget it. But if I can just squeeze a couple chuckles out of somebody, I can get by.
Right.
Yeah.
And you tried for a while going on legitimate acting auditions, but it wasn't really till you started making your own stuff.
I knew that it was going to hit a wall. So like both Rob and Glenn and myself, we were working the way extraordinarily handsome young men in their 20s can get some work.
Sure. I was there. I did that. Yeah.
Like the guy at the dock being like, yeah, I saw him. Yeah, pretty decent guy, hardworking, I think. I did notice blood on the finger, like that. Like that.
So how many Law and Orders is that?
Yeah.
That is my favorite observation is, and it's the same thing for Dragnet and Law and Order. Whenever they're questioning someone, it's like, no. Anything else you want to say before we go? Well, there was one thing.
Yeah.
He wore a World War I German helmet. Dun, 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 You lead with that.
I don't know, whatever you make of that. And then, yeah, that's...
So you did a couple of one-line things.
I did a Law and Order and like a couple things here and there. And I was always coming close. I was testing for a lot of TV shows to always to be the best friend, never to be the guy.
Yeah.
Actually, one time I got flown out for a show that was called Weird Henry. And they're like, well, maybe he could be Weird Henry. He sure seems weird. And then, I think the studio saw the test and we're like, we're going to cancel this show. This is the whole thing got scrapped after my audition. And then I booked a part on the Luis Guzman sitcom. That was written by Will Gluck, funny, talented guy. And there were 2 writers on that staff that I'm like, no, these guys are really, really funny. It was Chris Miller and Phil Lord.
Oh, yeah, wow. Of course, yeah.
So they went on to be pretty successful. And that got canceled after 3 episodes aired. And it was around then that Robin, Glenn, and I were thinking, why wait? Why sit around and wait for another one of these? And then you don't even necessarily like what you're being given the opportunity to do. Why not just shoot something ourselves? And I think we were looking at the British Office.
Yep.
And how sort of cheap It just seemed very handheld and very easy to shoot, and the lighting just seemed like they threw the lights on in an office and filmed it. Curb had just come out around then, and it felt the same. And the Panasonic DVX 100A camera, not that we were big camera guys, but Glenn or someone had stumbled upon this camera, and it kind of looked like those shows, but it was an affordable camera. So that combination of a attainable look with an affordable camera, and we thought, well, we could shoot something. There was no TikTok to just sort of throw it away on.
Right.
YouTube, I think, was just kind of coming onto the scene. We thought, well, let's shoot a pilot, and we made a terrible pilot. But there was a thing in it. There was something in the spirit of it that we thought, okay, let's redo it because it cost us nothing, and we had a lot of spare time. And then we said, well, let's shoot it again. We shot a second episode, and we sort of handed that to our agents. So we started going around town, and or they said, let's hook you up with a big producer. And we waited forever for someone to watch it. Nobody watched it. And while we were waiting, we shot a third episode. And that third episode started to get pretty good. We started to find our voice and our timing and get a little bit better at how to use the camera. And it was the third episode that Rob had his lack of patience was amazing and very useful. He was like, I'm going to fire everyone unless we start getting meetings. And they're like, okay, we'll set up some meetings. And he took it around and pitched it. And we had an offer from VH1, I think, to rewrite it. Or maybe it was MTV. And we had an offer from FX to shoot a pilot with a real budget. And by a real budget, I mean like 1/10 of what a television show is made for. But that was 100 times more than what we were working for. We shot that pilot. They picked it up. They said, we'll give you 7 episodes. And then we did 7. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna cancel the show, but unless you can get a big name attached. And Danny DeVito had seen the show and liked it. And then here we are. Still going.
That's fascinating to me that, I mean, you hear stories about you need a big name.
Yeah.
And I always thought like it almost sounds apocryphal, like it's this thing from the 1940s or 50s, but it's true.
Yeah, especially then. Maybe less so now because there's so many different things that you could maybe launch something and people, just the buzz of it being a popular show on, say, Netflix, people might check it out. But then I think to break through it all, yeah, if we hadn't gotten Danny, that would have been it.
Now, how many seasons has it been now? This is going to blow my mind when you say it.
We just shot the 16th
That's
season.
Unbelievable to me. And I think you've broken the record or tied the record for longest running multicam sitcom. Is something like that?
We passed Ozzie and Harriet last year for the longest. And they did about 1,000 episodes.
Oh my God.
We've done so many less. Now we're only doing 8 a year. But I think back then they were like, all right, get to work and you're going to do 50 of these, but now, yes, we're the longest running. We haven't done the most episodes. And then cartoons like The Simpsons has been around forever.
Tell me about it. I left The Simpsons in 1993. And I remember thinking, well, this old horse has just about had it. So I'll just go do a late night show now.
Were you at all thinking, like, they'll never survive without me?
No, I'm deluded, but not that deluded. No, I knew that they survived very well, that they would survive very well without me and probably be enhanced. I left and remembered thinking like, well, this thing has now been chugging along for like 6-7 seasons and it's an animated show and it's very labor intensive. How could it possibly continue?
Yeah.
Cut to 30 years later.
That's insane. Do you think it's time for them to stop?
Yes, I do.
Oh, no.
Who knows? I only said that because I'm good friends with many of the people that still make it. So they know I don't feel that way. But it's really funny for me to go, yes, they should stop immediately.
Have they had enough episodes for the characters to have aged a year, if theoretically?
Well, it's the beauty of
of course they have, right? 365 episodes?
Well, yeah.
Easily.
They easily have. But, I mean, that's the conceit, right? They never
get older.
They never get
they're
older,
just stuck
and
in
Mr.
that
Burns never remembers who Homer Simpson is.
And
That's my other favorite. Simpson, hey?
Yeah, that's good.
And no one knows how
It's
old
like,
he
well,
is.
sir, he saved your life. He once was in charge of the moon. He, whatever. You transplanted your lungs into his once. You once adopted him. All these, it doesn't ring a bell, which is a great, great conceit.